That ship has hit the fucking iceberg and they're going down with it. Okay, but we're just getting started here. So these are like, the MAGA podcastville type people, right? But what about the actual members of the administration? Oh my God, please tell me they're not that stupid. Please tell me they're not that dishonest. Okay, here we go. So Jake Tapper, talking to the Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins about Trump's tariffs. This is an amazing clip. So as you all know, they slapped tariffs on all these different countries. The formula they used was preposterous. They're not even reciprocal tariffs. They're like 4 times higher than that because the calculation includes the trade deficit we have with other countries, which is just, to add that in is just insanity, right? So Jake Tapper asks, hold on, you did all these tariffs. Why did you tariff uninhabited islands? Like, what's the logic behind that? Watch this.
President Trump laid out with a giant graphic of all the countries where tariffs were going to be, what he called reciprocal tariffs were going to be imposed. And you're imposing a 10% tariff on the Heard and McDonald Islands. The Heard and McDonald Islands have 0 human inhabitants. They have 0 exports. They have 0 imports. They do have a lot of penguins. Why are you putting import tariffs on islands that are entirely populated by penguins?
Well, I mean, come on, Jake. Obviously, here's the bottom line. We live under a tariff regime from other countries. We have too long
the McDonald Islands is not imposing.
The idea that America goes first. I mean, come on. Whatever. Listen, the people that are leading this are serious, intentional, patriotic, the smartest people I've ever worked with. I did not come up with the formulas.
Her reaction was literally like, come on, Jake. I mean, like, whatever, bro. You're in the administration. That's your reaction? Jake, come on, Jake. Whatever, bro. So we tariffed an island full of penguins, bro. These people are smart and serious. Well, that fact would seem to indicate literally the exact opposite. No, let's be honest. Call it what it is. It's a room full of fucking idiots, and they did their fucking idiot chart, and they came up with the dumbest formula possible that they literally asked ChatGPT or Grok about. They put it out there. They don't even know what a fucking trade deficit is. Trump thinks trade deficit equals bad, and none of the economic people around him said that's not true. They can't be honest. It is a cult. They are pathological liars. They have to go wherever the dear leader sends them, right? And whatever, bro. So we tariffed an island with only penguins, bro. The takeaway from that is exactly what you think it is. They're a bunch of fucking idiots. Now understand, I need you to understand this. They're also evil and nefarious, because I'm convinced there are plenty of people in this White House that are shorting the market and making billions of dollars from the market going down, which, by the way, is insider trading. It's a massive conflict of interest. It should be totally illegal. They should be fucking locked up yesterday. Okay? But so they are evil. They are nefarious. I think there are plans they're cooking up where Trump gets a deal from all the countries for a tariff exemption where he gets money in his own pocket. I think that's all on the table with Donald Trump. He's basically a fucking mafia boss. But they're also stupid, which is why the Heard and McDonald Islands were on the fucking chart. Okay? We're just getting warmed up, man. Here we go. Howard Lutnick. Now, this guy is in the running for the dumbest person in this administration. And I know that's a high bar, but he truly, truly is. Here we go. Ready? This is from the other day.
Now, we're not going to have all factories come back. Like clothing manufacturing, that's tough to bring back. But what kind of manufacturing are you talking about?
Okay, which, by the way, if clothing manufacturing is not going to come back to the U.S., nor do we really want it, then why are you tariffing the countries that export the clothes? Right? If even Jesse fucking Waters can see it, we don't really want we want Americans working for like fucking $7.25 an hour, which, by the way, it's really like $1 an hour or whatever it is in Vietnam. But $7.25 an hour to make fucking clothes? Is that what we're going to bring back to the United States of America? Like, really? And they're tariffing Vietnam. They're tariffing the countries that send us the clothes. And if you're admitting, well, we don't really want the clothing manufacturer, then why are you doing that? Okay.
You can't just give that away. See, what's going to happen is robotics are going to replace the cheap labor that we've seen all across the world. I mean, think of what our factories did. They went to the cheapest labor in the whole world, slave labor, cheap labor, the worst environmental conditions, polluting the heck out of it. And then we bring back those cheap products here and we feel good about ourselves because we don't see the pain.
So he goes on to say, we're gonna bring back the jobs here. And they're like, hold on, you just said robotics is gonna take over. And he's like, yeah, we're gonna bring back the jobs for American workers to make the robots that then take their jobs? He goes on to say that. Oh my God. Oh my God, bro. Oh my God, bro. All right, let's get it a little more on the record now. He's on Face the Nation.
Great American workers. You know,
You
we are
said
going to
robots
replace
on other
the
networks. You said
armies
that's a
of
fact.
millions of people. Well, remember, the army of millions and millions of human beings screwing in little screws to make iPhones. That kind of thing is going to come to America.
The army of little things like workers screwing in tiny little screws. Are you kidding me? This is a sick joke.
Screwing in little screws to make iPhones. That kind of thing is going to come to America. It's going to be automated, and great Americans, the trade.
It's going to be automated again. At the same time, he says we're going to bring all the jobs back. He also says we're going to replace all the jobs with robots. What? But it's okay because if the robots will take your job, but then there'll be other jobs that you could do like screwing in tiny little screws every day. Oh my God.
Of America is going to fix them, is going to work on them. They're going to be mechanics. There's going to be HVAC specialists. There's going to be electricians. The trade craft of America, our high school educated Americans, the core to our workforce is going to have the greatest resurgence of jobs in the history of America to work on these high-tech factories, which are all coming to America. That's what's going to build our next generation of America.
So he's literally saying, don't worry, Americans will do the jobs to maintain the robots that steal their jobs. Bro, also, let me point out, because this is true too, none of that's going to happen either because Trump is doing zero industrial policy. How many times do we have to say this? If you're going to do tariffs, number one, they have to be targeted. Number two, you have to do industrial policy to beef up the industries here that you want to compete globally. They're doing the tariffs and they're doing austerity at the same time, the opposite of industrial policy. No industrial policy whatsoever. The free market is not going to fucking bring back these jobs where people screw in the tiny little screws or they fucking maintain the robots. It's not going to happen. And that's why the market is falling off a fucking cliff. They know that. The idiots in the White House fucking don't. Oh my God. We also got this one. Ready?
The president retweeted a post that said the market drop was part of a deliberate strategy to force the Fed to lower interest rates. Is that the president's strategy? If not, why did he post it?
Yeah. That, the bottom line is the president has been talking about tariffs for 40 years, and this has been absolutely the policy that he's focused on in the campaign and throughout his political career. And the cyclical cycle of the Fed, it comes and goes. That's a different matter. But this is President Trump's desired policy. He's been arguing for it ever since I think he was on The View 30, 40 years ago. And it's exactly the baseline tariff is exactly what he put into the convention. So this is not a surprise for anyone.
Is it his strategy to force the Fed to lower interest rates, and that the market crash was part of that strategy?
We understand the Fed is an independent agency. We respect the independence of the Fed. So the president's allowed to have an opinion. Absolutely, the president's allowed to have an opinion. But there's not going to be any political coercion over the Fed, for sure.
So that is his strategy, tank the market so the Fed lowers interest rates? No. Well, you just said the president's allowed to have an opinion. Is that his opinion or not?
He's not trying to take the market. He's trying to deliver for American workers. And I mean, what would you have him do? Again, real wages down 15 years in a row under the previous policy, and that's why Americans voted for him. They brought him in to turn the economy around for the American worker, and that's what he's focused on.
I'm just trying to get some clarity. Is that the president's strategy? No, is that the president's strategy or not? He posted it. He said the strategy is for the markets to crash so the Fed lowers interest rates.
It's not a strategy for the markets to crash. It is not a strategy for the markets to crash. It's a strategy to create a golden age in America for the American worker. That's his strategy.
I literally would not be able to sleep at night if I had this man's job. I don't think he's able to sleep at night. Look at his face. Let me just click random spot of the video. Look at his face. Look at his face. Look at his face. This is the face of a man who is fully aware that he's fucking bullshitting. How do you sleep at night? He probably doesn't. He probably doesn't sleep at night. The president said he's crashing the market on purpose. Why would he do that? And does he really believe that? Pfft, bro, the president's allowed to have an opinion, bro. The opinion being, let's crash the market, in turn, leading for people's 401ks to be wiped out, and they lose their jobs, and with the tariffs, the prices are going to skyrocket. President's allowed to have an opinion, bro, but also, he doesn't actually mean that. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. We live in a nightmare. We live in the Twilight Zone. We live in a Black Mirror episode. They have to tap dance around everything. It doesn't matter what Trump says, what Trump does. They have to come out there and justify it, but also tap dance around it. And this is like, these guys are Olympic champions at sophistry. They have to be in order to work for this fucking psychopath. All right, I got one more for you. Ready? Here is Jeanine Pirro, the resident drunk on Fox News. And man, they are coping hard all these hosts are coping so